Testing audio. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Governance and Priorities meeting here for Tuesday, February the 3rd. With our land acknowledgement, in the spirit of respect, reciprocity, and truth, we honor and acknowledge the Mokitas and the traditional Treaty 7 territory and oral practices of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Siksika, Kainai, Piikani, Leakout Nakota Nations, Chiniki, Bearspaw, Goodstoney, and Tsuut'ina Nation. We acknowledge that this territory is home to the Métis government of the Métis Nation with Alberta District 4. And finally, we acknowledge all nations, Indigenous and non, who live, work, and play on this land and who honor and celebrate this territory. This sacred gathering place provides us with an opportunity to engage in and demonstrate leadership on reconciliation, and we are honored to have you join us on Treaty 7 territory. Looking at the agenda, first looking to administration, if there are any additions or deletions to the agenda. Mr. Edney.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Dean. Good morning, Council. I'd request that we add item 8.2 under closed session called Land Update and use ATIA Section 30, disclosure harmful to economic and other interests of a public body.
Okay, thank you. Great, thank you. Administration, anything else on that? Thank you. Council, any additions or comments for the agenda? Seeing none, can I have a councillor make the motion to approve the agenda as amended, please? Councillor Randhawa.
Thank you, Your Worship. Good morning, everyone. I move that the Governments and Priority Committee approve the February 3rd, 2026 Governments and Priority Committee meeting agenda as amended. Add agenda item 8.2, Land Update Access to Information Act, ATIA, Section 30, disclosure harmful to economic and other interest of a public body.
Thank you. Comments, questions from council? Call for the vote. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. Just a couple comments for our meeting today. Unfortunately, Deputy Mayor is feeling a little under the weather this morning, and so will not be joining us for our council meeting here today. Wish him speedy recovery. I know that there's been a nasty one going around. It laid me out for a couple days last week, so wish him a speedy recovery and coming back to join us. Under our moment, another thing with our agenda that I will be speaking to is under our moment of reflection. I just want to make mention of a hockey tournament that's happening today. It is a fundraiser for the United Way, is being done by City of Chestermere staff. There are firefighters versus City Hall. We have the city sponsors, and we have Public Works that are all participating in this. Last year when they did this tournament, they raised about $4,800, and this year they've already topped $7,600 for the United Way. So great fundraiser, great initiative, and so I apologize to my council members. Some of my best ideas that I could have as mayor either come to me at midnight when I'm getting home from hockey or when I first wake up in the morning, and so it messaged council first thing this morning actually about jerseys. So I apologize to council for the last minute update on us wearing our jerseys. Plan for today is we will take during our lunch break, council's actually going to head over to the rec center to watch the first part of the first game, and so scheduled today we're going to head over and we will be able to watch the firefighters versus City Hall, and so from 12 to 1 is firefighters versus City Hall. City Hall versus city sponsors will be from 1:15 to 2:15, and Public Works versus city sponsors is from 2:30 to 3:30 today. So some games happening over there, all in support of the United Way. So a great initiative, and there will be some information coming out as to ways that the public may be able to support this initiative. And again, all of the money will be going to United Way, which helps fund programming here in the city of Chestermere. Also want to, on a more serious note, on our moment of reflection, just mention an incident that happened in Stavely, Alberta yesterday. And for many of us, this is near and dear to our hearts. For those of us, we have members of our staff as well as members of our council that have children that play hockey, and I personally have a son that plays junior hockey and is on a bus every weekend. And since the Humboldt tragedy, it certainly hits those of us with family members that travel on buses and travel for hockey. It hits, and it's a reminder for all of us. And so I thought that it was important that we, the city of Chestermere, make acknowledgement for what happened in Stavely and the loss of life for Cameron Casoro, JJ Wright, as well as Caden Fine. And so our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to the members of the Mustangs community and the Mustangs hockey with Stavely. There are definitely some connections for Chestermere with this, as many of our, we have a few referees in our community that ref in this league, and we have a league owner who is a resident who's in this league. So there are some deep personal connections. And so just our condolences to the family. It's incredible to see the outreach of love and support that's already been coming out, including from Premier and Prime Minister, acknowledging a tragedy in our hockey world. The Calgary Flames last night made mention that the hockey world is a tight-knit community. It's a big community, but it's a tight-knit community. And so I just want to make acknowledgement of that and wish our condolences to the family in this difficult time. The other one that we want to mention during our moment of reflection today is, and it's a awkward transition, but we also want to celebrate as we have a number of businesses that have been nominated for Heart of the Community Awards. And so a few weeks ago, we had a presentation that was done by Community Futures Wild Rose. And one of the initiatives that Community Futures Wild Rose does is that Community Futures Wild Rose knows that small businesses are the backbone of our region. They sponsor local events and teams, generously volunteer their time and resources, and exponentially contribute to the community's growth. Through their Heart of Community initiative, they aim to highlight these local heroes who tirelessly support our communities, and they hope to inspire more people to think big and shop local. So that's what the program is, and we wanted to, in our agenda package, you will be able to see comments that were made about each of these businesses. There are some incredible comments that are made about each of our businesses, and they're each highlighted. And if we can just go to the next slide here. So the Chestermere businesses that have been nominated for this award, and my understanding is that the announcement for the recipients of the actual award will be made tomorrow. But even to be nominated is incredible achievement for our businesses. So Chestermere Mobile Massage Incorporated, Chestermere Muslim Council, Domino's Pizza, Harmony Health and Fitness, Little Lake Locals, Our Little Thing, and Tents Up were all nominated for the Small Business Awards for Heart of our Community. And Chestermere City Council has, with administration, has prepared a card on behalf of the City of Chestermere to each of these businesses that Council will be signing, that we will be providing as a congratulations for being nominated. So congratulations to these businesses on their nomination. And if you haven't had a chance, I would encourage members of our public to go and read the comments that are in our agenda package that were provided to us from Community Futures Wild Rose. And again, just want to acknowledge and thank Community Futures Wild Rose for the support that they're providing to our businesses here in the community. Thank them again for the presentation where they came and provided last week. And we continue to look forward to the relationship that we are building with Community Futures Wild Rose and the support that they have of our business community here in Chestermere. With that, I believe we just need the motion to accept for information. Thank you. Can I have a councillor make the following motion, please? Councillor Sambo.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good morning. I move that the Governance and Priorities Committee accept the moment of reflection for information.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions from council? Call for the vote. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. With that, we'll move to public input session. I would see that we have 2 members that have signed up for public input session. Again, public input session for our governance and priorities meeting relates to that is a community-wide issue, and members of the public have 5 minutes to address council. And the first person that we have up for our public input this morning is Sukhdeep Dhaliwal. Good morning.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. My name is Sukhdeep Dhaliwal. First of all, I'd like to send my prayers and thoughts to the tragedy that happened in Stavely. Our thoughts and prayers are with everyone that's affected by that tragedy. My name is Sukhdeep Dhaliwal. I'm a resident of the East Acreages. I would like to ask Council if they received and reviewed my email sent last week. I did not receive any feedback of the receipt of the email. And I'd like to remind the city of their promises made 2009 prior to annexation. We had asked if the council could we just heard in the global news that there's a new community of 1,900 houses coming up in Chestermere, which is great news for our community. It's going to enhance our growth. However, we'd like to remind the city that they did make a promise in 2008 prior to annexation with East Acreages areas that they would help us develop our areas as part of the condition for landowners accepting that annexation. And that promise has still been unfulfilled as we continue to talk about this, and you have spoken many times in front of the council here in that regard. We did bring up in the last couple of meetings that there are some amendments we'd like to see in the TRR and the CR that's being proposed. We want council to direct staff to set up a proactive meeting to work out these amendments so you would get a wholesome presentation for these changes that are coming up. With that, I think that's all I got for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just address a couple of comments there. Yes, I did receive your comments. I apologize. I didn't realize you were looking for something directly back at that time, so I can respond. The response is going to be the same as it has been. We are continuing to move forward. There is a process that happens, and I cannot speak for how other councils have handled it. I can only speak for and defend the way that our council is handling it. We have a public hearing that is coming up for CR. I believe that is coming up. I just need some help with the date. I think it's coming up next week. It's on is it the 10th or the 24th?
24th.
24th, thank you. So on the 24th will be that. There will be ample opportunity, as there was at the public hearing that was done for previous things, for anybody from the public to provide their input for how they feel about CR and suggestions that have been made. So at that time, public will have that opportunity. To address the story that was released on Global News last night, this is a proposed development. Nothing's been approved. This is a proposed development. It will have to go through the same process as everybody else. Global News did cover a story yesterday. I do want to thank Global News for their coverage of that story yesterday, because in their story yesterday, they were very clear. They said it a number of times. They used the word proposed throughout the story. So I watched with interest yesterday. I understand that I've been sent a clip of it this morning from our communications team. But Global News made it very, very clear. This is a proposed. It has to go through the exact same process as everybody else. So it is not an approved development at this time. So I have seen some comments that have been made within the public that really are some misinformation. This is not an approved development. It is a proposed development that will have to follow the same process where it will go through administration. I'm not sure where it sits with administration at this time. Mr. Chadiak would be the one that would be able to speak to that if he can, because that's a private matter until it comes to public. And then when it comes to council, it will go through the same process. It'll be a first reading for a bylaw. That after the first reading of that bylaw, it will go to public hearing. After public hearing, it will go to second and possibly third reading. So it is proposed, not approved.
I just want to remind the city that there was promises made that if there's other stuff coming in the way, please address the previous promises made.
And I would say that we are addressing it. You have had numerous meetings with administration. We have come up with a new proposal that is coming, while still yet not approved. There's a public hearing that is coming for that, and I absolutely feel and empathize with your frustration as we're moving through this process. Again, I cannot speak to what was done, promised, and or given by previous councils. I can only speak to what this council is working on and what this administration is working on. And I do know that this administration has spent a number of hours working on this, trying to find a solution that is going to work for everybody. And I think that that's where this project is sitting right now. Mr. Edney, I'm not sure, or Mr. Chaddock, if there's anything else, or that covers it. Mr. Edney.
Yeah, no, thanks, Mayor Dean. I think you captured it well. Yeah, the only other comment I'll have is we haven't received any sort of application on those lands to the south that were discussed on Global News yesterday. So,
Oh, there you go.
yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Okay. And then finally, sorry, not finally, the next one that we have on here is Mr. Fred DeVero is next. Good morning.
Morning, Mayor and Council. My name's Fred Deere. I am a longtime resident of the MD and city area. Since 2009, I'm just going to go back and give a little bit of history here, and I hope the administration is hearing me, because yesterday I heard CR and the city is now entertaining the acreage areas with this new CR thing that's coming up. We have the TRR already in place and approved, and I'm going to explain to you people how that came about. In 2010, I tried to, well, first off, in 2009, we were annexed by the town of Chestermere. In 2010, I believe the city became a the municipality became a city, which changed the development rules in the two specific areas known as North and East, and actually Paradise Meadows. We've only produced, I heard Mr. Such, Director of Infrastructure, now hired 6 months ago, stand here and tell you that our land hasn't been frozen. Since 2009, we have only produced in these two areas 2 1-acre parcels, and in 2015, council approved a commercial development, 9 acres, in the North Acreage area, which we tried to capitalize on, and that 9-acre development was done without municipal servicing, totally uncontextual to what we've been told that we have to hook in. We've been lied to, misinformation. The city used my drawings to produce the TRR, and the TRR came into effect probably, well, it was brought to council in 2015, the idea of it. There's only 2 small changes that need to be made to the TRR, and we'd like to discuss that and get that going forward. The CRR thing is just another waiting game. It's just another big red herring for the acreage owners. TRR works, and the applications that we've got and the shadowing that we've done can easily be tied in to municipal services once the service extensions are there, or developers come in at at higher densities, and we can get the servicing available to hook into these existing lots that we're trying to produce now. The amount of money that the city has squandered and just let go by, it's in the millions from 2015 to today. I believe it's almost a decade. That everything that we're talking about here under the TRR today could have been done in 2015. And if the city would have listened, then they had a different staff. They didn't have enough staff. They didn't have competent staff to deal with the acreage developments. And I don't believe they still do. You know, Mr. Such comes in, he's 6 months on the job. He's got his own opinion, and he's brought his own new remedy. And we've been here for 17 years telling you what we want to remedy, and it works. Just on my development alone, the city could be collecting $70,000 a year in tax revenue without spending $1, which the city has not spent $1 in the 17 years on any capital infrastructure in the north acreage anyways. A little bit maybe in the east, but nothing in the north. So I beg of you to either set up a task force and allow us to come to make these small amendments to the TRR, which will work for everybody right now. And if the city wants to develop some stuff in the east acreages using their CR, well, have at it. But we need some development to happen in the north acreage area. Mr. Gill is here. He's got an application before us. We're trying to figure out how to get the service extensions through with engineering, and we believe that we can do it fairly quickly and a lot more inexpensively than having the city do it and have it covered by the OSL levies. And I'm very concerned about this new thing where the OSL levies are going to come from and go to. So, like I say, I hope you get our gist again. I've been here for 17 years, and we'd like to see 2 amendments to the TRR.
Great, thank you. Thank you for your comments, and I appreciate your comments. The one thing I will push back on, and the one thing that I will not stand for as mayor of the city of Chestermere is we have an incredibly competent staff, and I'm fully behind my CAO and each of my city directors, and I will defend them unquestioningly. I cannot speak highly enough of the work that Mr. Chadiak has done since coming to the city of Chestermere. The work that he is doing in our planning and development department to be able to move things forward, the mentorship that he is providing to some of our more junior staff, if you will, not junior in terms of age, but at times just junior in terms of experience. Mr. Chadiak brings a wealth of experience. He has certainly taught me things that I have not known about this, and so we hear your frustration. I appreciate your suggestion on the idea of a task force, as we have seen some success with our council with task forces. I would just caution that even in times of frustration, and I understand that we are frustrated, as I said, I think our CAO, Mr. Edney, has done an incredible job, and the job that he is doing right now with the hiring of staff and the staff that he has brought in and the team that he is building with our executive leadership team is outstanding. And I will defend our staff. And no, I'm sorry, your time is up this morning for speaking. No, I'm sorry. Thank you. So with that, we accept for information. Thank you. Can I have a motion to accept for information, please? Councillor Grant.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. I move that council accept the public input regarding east acreages and concerns about the TRR districts for information.
We good? We good, Josh? Okay. Comments, questions from council? Call for the vote. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. Okay. So with that, we have a few items that are timed as to when they're going to come. We have a presentation that's coming at 10 a.m. and then we have a presentation that's coming at 1 a.m. So going to skip down now to item 6.1.1, which is our public inquiries service update, strategies and expectations, presented by Ms. Candace Dennison. Good morning.
Good morning. Candace Dennison, Director of Strategic Services, and I am presenting the Public Inquiry Service Update. I'll start by saying that I struggled a bit with what to call this report because at its core, this is really about public service. It's about how the city provides assistance and how residents, businesses, and community partners experience the city. Whether someone is walking up to the front counter, calling us, emailing, filling out a form on our website, that experience should feel consistent. It shouldn't matter whether you're applying for an electrical permit, paying a tax bill, seeking social services, or reporting a pothole. From the public's perspective, they're contacting the city. I don't think it will surprise anyone to hear that today that experience isn't always consistent. We have multiple access points and good people responding in good faith, but we haven't yet been intentional or unified in how public inquiries are handled across the organization. Right now, people can contact the city in person at the front counter, by phone, email, through online forms, and by the Report It tool, or by contacting members of council directly. I also want to be clear that the city does not monitor or respond through community-run social media pages, including Facebook groups. Those spaces are important for conversation, but they are not a reliable way to contact the city. If someone contacts the mayor or a councillor, those inquiries are forwarded to administration so they can be addressed appropriately. Residents also have the option to request a short 15-minute meeting with the mayor, which is intended as additional access point and not a service request system. Over the past while, administration has fixed some foundational issues that were quietly undermining confidence, like restoring the Report It tool, confirming receipt of submissions, and correcting email filtering issues. These aren't flashy changes, but they do matter. Where we still have work to do is measurement and consistency. We don't yet have a clear picture of volumes, response times, or trends, and we don't have formal service standards guiding this work. What's happening next is that administration is taking a closer look at how public inquiries flow through the organization today, where people experience confusion or delay, and how we can be more intentional going forward. We're also being mindful of other work that is being done, so any future improvements are coordinated and not piecemeal. This report is about being transparent on where we are today and acknowledging that while we're doing good work, we are striving to do better. Improvements are coming thoughtfully and deliberately, and I'm happy to listen to any discussion or questions.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I think part of the reason why this came was I think we just want to have a conversation on a number of different items. One, about what is happening, and B, perhaps an educational piece for our public as to how you can contact us. I know one of the comments that I had when I read this report is I didn't think we're actually giving ourselves enough credit for the number of different ways that you have access to council to bring your concerns forward. And you've outlined a lot of them in here. You have ways, and not just to council, I apologize, I misspoke there a little bit, to the city of Chestermere. You have the opportunity to bring your concerns to particular members of administration. I know that many members of the public who have attended 15-minute meetings with the mayor can attest to the fact that in my office, I have a business card for all of the directors and many of the managers within the city of Chestermere, so that when somebody comes with a concern, I can go, here's exactly who you need to contact about that concern, and that they will be able to follow up with you. I also think the Report It tool is another great tool that we have that people are able to utilize, and I appreciate that in the report you highlighted that we've been able to clean that up a little bit in terms of where that information is going and things like that. And I also think too that what we need to make very, very clear is we do not monitor community social media sites. We just don't. Contacting the city or trying to get your concern addressed through community social media sites is just not the way to have that done. And so there are multiple other ways. And so one of my hopes from this is that I would love to see us be able to produce something that's really simple and straightforward for our public that says, have a concern, here's the number of ways, and just like bullet points come out ways that can do that. But then also have a holistic conversation about some possible ideas. And I would caveat the rest of this conversation of this is a brainstorming session, an ideas session. This is a spitballing session. The city of Chestermere is not committing to any of the ideas that are about to come out of a councillor's and or another administrator's mouth with regards to some of these things, because I know that I have a few ideas that I want to bring forward, but they all have budget implications and things like that. So I just want to caveat this conversation that it is truly a brainstorming to be able to provide some ideas and thoughts. So first of all, Mr. Edney.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Dean. So to kind of lead into your comments there about this being brainstorming, I may be taking a little bit of thunder away from Director Dennison, but we had a meeting last week, the executive team did, and we're implementing some changes internally on workflow processes. And what we quickly realized is this was an easy process to put out for the public. So if you've ever seen the 311 app with the City of Calgary, something you can download. It's a page on their website. You can go and get your garbage collection schedule, etc. But there's also a really good tool in there for reporting issues in real time with GPS location, pictures, you name it. There's also ways to get news alerts, notifications, all that kind of stuff. So I can't promise a timeline, but I can promise that this is under development currently in the city of Chestermere to roll out at some point. I'm going to say mid this year to later this year. I'm not rushing it too much. Again, this is one of these things where recognizing some of the challenges that the public has had over the past year, we don't want to roll something out that isn't well thought out and doesn't serve their needs. But wanted to let council know that we are on that workflow, and hopefully that'll be a big step forward into finding an easy way to communicate with the public, and more importantly, the public to communicate back with us.
Yeah, I think one of the things that happens often when council attends conferences, whether it be AB Munis or RMA, that we bring resources back. And one of the things that we have seen is that there's a number of communities, including communities that are our size, that have adopted these city apps, where it's a great way, a great tool to communicate about emergencies. It's a great tool to communicate about regular day-to-day things, as well as for public to be able to provide feedback as well. So turning to council, any comments, questions, ideas that you want to offer with regards to this particular presentation? Councillor Sambo.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think you said my name before I pressed the button. Through you, my major comment to administration is I think there's an element of customer service training that's needed with members of staff. I haven't personally experienced any interactions or heard of any interactions between administration and the public that were rude or cold. But I think customer service is more than just neutral. And so there's some training that could be done there, and maybe working that into job descriptions for frontline roles and that kind of thing as well. The other thing that I would like to hear is feedback at some point from administration on your opinion on how contact from the public to members of council is forwarded to administration, because I know we all have a slightly different process for that, and I'd be really curious what administration prefers on that front. Thank you.
Mr. Edney?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Dean, and good question, Councillor Sandbo. I think the process that most of you are using works pretty good. I think you've got a pretty good understanding, while there's been a lot of changes at executive and management level over the recent months. I think you've got a pretty good understanding of which director is responsible for which area that the complaint might go to. So right now, I think most of you are sending that complaint directly to the director and then CCing myself for awareness. And I think that's a good process for now to deal with these issues. And then I know too, just for public's awareness, oftentimes if there hasn't been a response, respective councillor does follow up to make sure it's something we're working on, to make sure we do provide a response. So I think that process works good for us right now.
Great, thank you. And also within that too, often on it's great if I'm CC'd on those as well, only because I'm here every day, and there will be often times where somebody may follow up and they just come in person. It's one of the things that I've certainly learned is the number of people that just show up on a daily basis at Wednesday at 4:00 to say hi to the mayor. Usually friendly, but yeah, if I have that piece of information, it's certainly helpful for when that person drops in for that quick follow up. Councillor Schindler.
Yeah, thank you and good morning. Excuse me. I just want to, through the chair to administration, just thank you guys for really listening to us over the last year and a bit to improve our communications. I think we've certainly had a vast change in where we were and where we are today. Personally, one of my favorite things is to have those info posts or articles about how the city operates. And so I would just love to keep those going. That way we can refer people to how to our processes and educate them so they can easily navigate the city going forward. So yeah, so that's my favorite thing to do, and I hope we continue to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. I think too, another thing that I think is important to highlight is that we have seen a lot of changes with council and administration. We have some stability here now for the next 4 years, which is fantastic. However, with some of those changes comes also the machine keeps going, if you will, while at the same time trying to repair parts of the machine that may need some repairing, but the machine still has to keep going and the pace doesn't change. And so I think one of the things that I think sometimes is difficult to communicate is just how busy things are on the day-to-day basis and how often it happens. So I know in your report that you mentioned that we don't necessarily have a tracking system, but do we have any even guesstimation as to how many reported that we get at the moment, for example, like just on the reported side? Do we have any kind of a guesstimation on that level, or we truly just have no tracking at the moment right now? Mrs. Dennison?
There is truly no tracking at
Okay.
the moment. I'm sure those analytics do exist, that we could go and look at them if we did want to, but it's not done holistically or consistently, and it's not done in a way to inform what we're doing next.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions from council? Okay, go forward from here. What would administration like to see as a go forward? So it sounds like we have something coming, hopefully midsummer. It is awesome to sit where I get to sit and watch staff reactions, as the CA was talking about, when something's coming with a date and watch the eyeballs go. That was a very amusing moment, Mr. Edney. I just want to let you know. But is there anything else that administration is looking for right now in terms of a direction from council with regards to this? Either Mr. Edney or Ms. Dennison.
No.
Mr. Edney.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Dean. No, not at this time. I think this was more just for information to let you know that, like Councillor Schindler mentioned, we're listening. I like your analogy. The machine continues to move. The machine continues to move faster and get bigger while we're trying to repair it. So some of these things take some time, but we're actively working on it. And hopefully a year from now when we have this update, we've got a whole new process and everybody's a little less unhappy, because nobody's ever happy.
So you're thinking here, because my thought was I was wondering about having an update coming to the June GAP meeting, or perhaps what if we looked at having an update to this report come to the September GAP meeting? Because with that timeline you gave, maybe the September timeline would be better? Okay, can I have a motion then that the committee direct administration to bring back a update on the Public Inquiry Service report from February 3rd, 2026. to the September, I've got it here, September 22nd Governance and Priorities meeting. Thank you. Councillor Schindler.
Yeah, thank you. Goodness. I'm going to try and read this without my glasses. Okay, no, I will. I broke my glasses. Sorry, it's hard to read. The Governance and Priorities Committee direct administration to bring back an update to or on the public hearing inquiries service update report from the February 3rd, 2026 Governance and Priorities meeting to the September 22nd, 2026 Governance and Priorities Committee meeting.
Comments, questions from council? Call for the vote. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. I do see that our guest presenter is here for his presentation, so perhaps we could start a couple of minutes early. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back at 9:50. Thanks, everybody. Good morning, everyone. Just coming back from our break here and restarting our meeting here this morning. So, moving to our next item, we have a public presentation for Foundational Learning Community presented by Carrie Hillgartner. Public presentations are booked for as a 15-minute presentation. That 15 minutes does not include questions that council may have, but we do have the clock on the screen as a reminder for everybody. And so away we go. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Mayor Shanadine and fellow councillors and all the people here in the room for taking the time to listen about our big project at the Foundational Learning Community. Last time we were here at the GAPS committee meeting, we talked about creating a center. We've made some significant progress in that regard. We'd like to talk about that today. But we'd also like to talk about moving from just about a center to dealing with pathways. Now, pathways is a term which is commonly used in terms of having a direction. And in the training and learning realm, we think of pathways as a student's journey from where they start to where they end, which is usually some kind of credential or some kind of vocation. And the pathways are important because that's where the trainer, the trainee, and the community all connect. And we'll talk about that further. Which had the button last time. Here we go. Okay, there we go. There we go. So today I just want to talk about what we're trying to do here, and that is continue to seek support from the community as represented by the council and the city hall here. As we last spoke, for us, it's about having support in the financial, zoning, and advocacy area. Adult learning and training and testing is minimal here in Chestermere, and it's certainly not necessarily directed by the community. We want to change that. We want to create our own community adult learning program as part of this. And we want to do that as a nonprofit, which the Foundational Learning Community is, and bring in partners that are profits such as SAIT, Polytechnic, and Hillgartner Training, and KDL Consulting. We want to be able to maximize what we can do for this community while keeping its identity. We've put a new name on the center, Training and Evaluation Center, simply to put forth the focus that we are working on training. Our partnership with SAIT, with working with these pathways, will focus on putting people through credentials and getting them into vocations, ones that fit here in Chestermere now and into the future. Our new slogan is New Training and Improving Local Access. And we hope that that theme resonates with what we do here. We've also, in terms of our achievement, I'll talk a bit about briefly our education portal, which SAIT has created for Chestermere. So students from Chestermere who enroll in those programs will receive a discount and will be considered full SAIT students, which is an opportunity not to be ignored. We will also offer to complement what we do from our years of experience, work experience, pre-apprenticeship, language learning, and high school equivalency programs, because we also know that part of a pathway is not a direct line. And in fact, the majority of adult students will at some point make a decision to change or alter their course based on their own personal experience, based on the community, based on the availability of jobs, and based on the availability of training. We will also want to feature performance labs. And this is a new effective evaluation model for training. It's done at places like SAIT and other polytechnics, where when you work in a field, you get to work on projects or work that you would normally in that vocation and get evaluated them. And not just by a trainer, but somebody who's a subject expert in that field. We also will quickly talk about our connections with the community and our involvement with any community agencies here. And we'll talk briefly about implementation steps to get the center running and get its training pathways going. Local vocational opportunities. Having spoken with members of the community and community agencies, and having started a needs assessment, we've identified apprenticeship, healthcare, business, digital literacy, and leadership as possible pathways or general fields that may be of interest to members of both students and industry and the community here. These vocations become sort of the endpoints for these pathways. We build programming, we build funding, we build supports around those pathways. From those pathways, a student will make a training plan, which means they'll decide how much things will cost, the supports that they need as a student or as a trainee, and they'll do so. And what we want to do as a model is we want to create at the Foundational Learning Center a training plan that they can carry with them to their next training opportunity, their next training program, possibly even to their employee as part of a portfolio. As a critical part of that, we're going to have a certified educational pathways advisor. I ask you to say that now twice in reverse. No, yeah. This is the person that will help the trainees sit down and make that training plan. They will have connections to industry and community support agencies in the community. They will help this person choose a pathway and from there create a plan. They will help them with registrations and programs and organizations. So for example, that education portal, that opportunity we have there will be a huge first step for making some of those things happen. They will also work for application for grants for the student. The community itself will also be applying for grants as training is an expensive business. They will also help the student find learning and accessibility supports. Upon entrance into a Foundational Learning Center program or educational pathway, students will be required to do diagnostics or transmit documents from previous tests so we can find out where they are and what they will need. Hopefully, we will be able to then monitor that plan, update that plan, and share that plan as needed and wanted with the student. In terms of being able to manage this, like other community colleges, there will be a pathways advising fee that can either be paid with by grants or can be included in center partner programming tuition. What does that mean? If you take a program that the Foundational Learning Center has a connection with or partnership with, we will include that pathways advising fee as part of it. The reason we want to do that is we know that having a plan, a training plan, is probably one of the biggest factors in completing. And by completing, meaning getting a credential and obtaining work. Whew, that was a mouthful. I went to a lot of work to make this animation, so I hope you appreciate it. But this is what a pathway might look. So digital and AI skills might be a pathway coming up with a new data center like Beacon appearing. So we want, as a community, to have those people to be able to work and spend and live and be part of the community here. That might be an important pathway. A particular path might be a database administrator. So this person has started a path on the training and is essential skills. So essential skills deals with things like showing up on time, completing work, task management, working with others. If that person is required of that or recommended for that, we'll have them do some of that as part of their training plan. From there, they'll go on and do any kind of entrance courses or programming that they need. For example, a lot of apprenticeships, it's mandated by Alberta government that they take an apprenticeship test or the equivalent, such as a -3 level math course, a -2 level English course, and the occasional science, depending on what level of competition you're going in there. I believe that's a pathway that's underused that we can boost, that we will, as Hillgartner Learning, have courses offered in it. From there, they go on to doing something vocational when they're applied and entered. So SATE, we will have incredible access to that. But as a non-profit community, Foundational Learning will be open to any learning organizations. It'll just be some that we have some partnerships or arrangements with that will work for us. From there, the lovely thing about training is it doesn't end once you have the job. There's onboarding, there's skill training, and we hope to be able to do some of that with partners with business and industry and entrepreneurs as a way to keep training and these pathways growing. There we go. It's got a hat now. What is a training plan? Have you ever played the game Waterworks? Yeah, it's exactly like that. So you start off with a diagnostic, you provide advising, you talk about funding, you come up with a plan which you know will change, you come up with registration, which is its own game and adventure. We work on studying, we provide supports, workplace training. So one of the things that we're going to have is a work experience program, which will be optional but highly recommended. And we want to work with industry, employers, and entrepreneurs here in Chestermere, because we think that's a great way to build a relationship between employer, trainee, and trainer. And we've done it in the past. The majority of students who go through those programs do find work, maybe not necessarily even in their initial field, but make changes or make decisions, because we're not talking about carpentry, we're not talking about database administration, we're doing it, we're seeing it. Yep. From there, they'll go on and get a credential. One of the things that SAIT does well for courses, it does micro-credentials, which you can use, but it also has certificates that are recognized. And we will connect them with credentials that are inside and outside of SAIT, because we will have an evaluation center that will be able to do it. We'll have performance labs for the heavily skill-based, and we will have testing for the more academics like the MCATs or even the high school equivalency diploma, CAKE. From there, we go on to onboarding and upskilling. And if we got wrenches and you got leaks along the way, that's part of a training plan. Cool, there's the Waterworks in the full version there. Says much of the same thing. And then we want to get them up to employment. And then if it's a circle, it's because we keep doing it. Education portal, the part you were all waiting here and excited for. We have it. We have the contract. We can register students in SAIT programming. On February 19th, we are having a Chestermere Training Expo. You are all invited to attend, in which we will showcase that portal, which means that our education pathway advisor can take a student or trainee coming in and even talk to entrepreneurs and industry here and come up with an alignment of courses that will help them with their path. Students will receive a discount. They will receive the full supports and benefits of being a SAIT student, and they will receive a discount on their tuitions. One of the things that we've decided with SAIT is that we will be offering online, in-person, and hybrid offerings. Our first round will be largely online, as we do not have a site or a base it yet, but we're working hard to obtain one. Our offerings will be based on cohort size and industry agreements. So in other words, we will be doing continuous, sort of as it were, needs assessments or surveys to determine the demand for a particular course. If there's sufficient demand and registration, then we will offer it. No questions, so forth. The work experience program, which is something that's at my own personal heart as a support for students, will be a featured part of the center. We know that many people along their pathways or plans do not complete because they don't see the relevance, or there is not a job market for it, or there is no real matchup in terms of what they expected. So we'll have levels. We'll have an observation level, a practicum level, and an internship level. We know that this work experience helps them make job decisions, but we also think it fosters and sustains industry in Chestermere. I come out here and I know I will have a skilled workforce. I know I can come out here and I know I can have input on that workforce. I know that I will come out here and do training because I've heard of this work experience program. It will produce greater job satisfaction, improve work performance, and it creates an employee commitment. We will also make sure that we do the work experience program the right way, that the trainer, the trainee, and the employer will all be at the table. And we'll talk about how to do observations as part of an evaluation with managers and employees. Students will do instruction in-course work on safety and on work expectations and skills, right? So, moving along, high school equivalency program. Well, this is where we started. There is no GED. The high school equivalency diploma program is important because if you don't complete something on this pathway, you have nothing to fall back on. You cannot receive employment or go on to many academic places without the equivalent of a high school diploma. These are prep hybrid courses. Hillgartner Learning is currently creating workbooks with pro-literacy and will be offering courses in Cake starting February 20th, the day after our expo. We will be applying to be an official testing center, which we hope to open in fall. All of our instructors dealing with the Cake Prep will be certified instructors with Alberta Education. That's something that sometimes gets missed or overlooked. And this will become a base credential for employment.
So we've
Now
come
we come to the end, yeah.
to the end of the 15. I want to thank you for this presentation. I know that council's had the opportunity. We got it in advance as part of our agenda package. And one of the things that I appreciate about our council is that I know that this council reads every word of every agenda, as we can see when the questions come up, is something, again, I appreciate about our council. So going to questions, I guess the question that I have is right at the top of your presentation under purpose, you talk about the idea of financial zoning and advocacy. So I guess what I am wondering is, what is your specific ask of what you would like to see the city of Chestermere to do with regards to this project?
Yes. So one of the things is we need a site and we need a zone. And we're well aware through the nonprofit committee and other committees that there's work on creating a nonprofit hub. Mm-hmm. We would love to be an anchor tenant on that nonprofit hub. And one of the reasons we want to be an anchor tenant on the nonprofit hub is we serve all those other community agencies. We also think that training is a fundamental way for both the community and for industry. As a sort of brief example, at the last interagency meeting, which is associated, we were given scenarios in which to help a group of families, and we were given a couple of scenarios. And in both cases, access to training would mean access to work, would at least put them on a road to solving the problems, and not being a handout, but a help up. You know.
Okay, thank you. So I guess I have a couple follow-ups with that, but I see Councilor Worthenhouse case jumped in. Councilor,
No, if you have a follow-up, go ahead.
You good? Yeah. I guess my follow-up to that would be, I guess what we would be looking for from a city perspective is a business plan for that, right? So the city generally is not in the business of developing a business plan for either a not-for-profit or a private business. Zoning's obvious, right? So if somebody is coming to us with an idea and we can help with zoning, I know that we did one somewhat, the Beacon Data Center is a great example, right? Beacon Data Center came to us, they have a business plan, they're working with our economic development department, they're coming with an idea, they've got a business plan, they come, and to hit all the points of their business plan, they needed some things done with zoning. So council goes ahead and does things with zoning. There's some budget requests that they have with that from staffing. So CAO brings forward, hey, I need some money for this for budget to set aside to do that. But that all comes because the applicant comes with a business plan. So I guess one of the things that we're looking for, but then the zoning's obvious. If you have a spot that you want to go and the barrier that's in your way is zoning, well, that's easy. That's a motion of council, and should council support that, they just rezone the land and away we go, right? So the zoning's easy. The financial, I don't think that this council has demonstrated consistently, both internally and externally, that we don't support something financially without a rationale and business plan. So I'm wondering if you've already developed said business plan. So if you want to be an anchor tenant, what does that look like for you? How much are you paying a month? What does that look like? What is your income stream? Has all of those things already been determined?
Yes and no. We worked on an implementation plan when we were started here and we did our last presentation. Mm-hmm. We've only made recent connections with David Sheedy to kind of bring that forward. We're also doing our needs assessment surveys to get a handle on the numbers that we'll be able to access. We are trying to meet with industry leaders in commerce to get a sense of what, so that we can do some of those numbers.
Okay.
as part of that implementation plan, we have a timeline, we have an estimated budget. But like with all things, as things change or move forward, so do that. Yeah. So we'd be more than willing to present that. Just did not think that at the GAP meeting this was the place necessarily to do that at this point. Yeah.
Understood. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
We're
Councillor.
also going to be producing what's called a feasibility report based on some of those numbers. So we'd like the opportunity to present that at some point. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Councillor Wozzanowski.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Dean, and thank you to you, Mr. Hillgartner. You'd mentioned feasibility or needs assessment. My question was surrounding, employing the youth is a challenge in Canada and Alberta, and certainly here in the city of Chestermere. Have you identified any specific demographics, or are you waiting on completing your needs assessment to understand who needs employment, if the training will get them employment? From what I'm hearing from residents, a lot of these kids, young adults, are very well trained, very well educated, and still can't find work. So there are grants available. There's IRAP. There's lots of funding available specific to young adults under the age of 25 through the Alberta government, through the federal government. Have you been able to dive down deeply and understand what our community needs?
Yes, I think we've had a chance through ongoing conversations over the last couple of years to get a sense of those needs. With our programming, we're largely in the realm of 19 plus. So we would work with youth and youth programs as being part of our audience. But we also have other agencies in Chestermere that deal with that, such as the Rocky View Community Schools, which would have more connection to them as continuing learners, right? So we would certainly support those initiatives, but it's about being where does our programming lead. For example, the high school equivalency diploma is only available to people 19 and up. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then just as a follow-up, you speak largely here about vocational, and have you considered any post-secondaries, with relationships? There's a shortage of many professionals as well in all the communities, certainly here, discussing that with U of C or Mount Royal or anything like that.
Yes. It's, however, harder to knock down that door, but we're having worked with community colleges, things like the high school equivalency diploma open those things up. Yeah. We also have changed our focus to training, but we haven't forgotten about academics. And in fact, when we first started, that's all we were thinking was largely academics. But we would still be open to those types of things, especially with our testing area and that types of things. But I've sat on accreditation and acceptance councils before. So that would be part of an ongoing process. If we have to create an immediate focus, it's to get to this training table and to be offering something to get some people working it.
Great,
you cannot be the solution to all things.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you. Councillor Grant.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. Through the Chair to Administration, the presenter, Mr. Hillgartner. Thank you for this. I know we've talked before about the testing center, and I think it's a fantastic idea. It does help support people. I like what you said about how it's not a handout, it's a hand up. Mm-hmm. And I think that's fantastic in today's world is, let's teach people how to fish, not give them a fish. So I think that's really great if we can be part of that. I love the pre-apprenticeship stuff you're talking about. As Councillor Wozzanowski alluded to, there is shortages in all aspects, particularly the trades is going to be crucial and critical in the future. I don't know if you know what's happening in the Calgary market, but obviously there's a lot of big projects that are happening, and those projects are just starting to suck up all the excess trades, and there's going to be a shortage immediately. So pre-apprenticeship program is a great way to get people in the gate, in the door, in the gate, and set them down that path, which is another part of what I like about what you said is setting the path, because I agree you need a path to complete something, and once you do, there is a great avenue to a future for you. So I think that's great. I do have questions about the online versus when you get bricks and mortar, and will that include labs and stuff, and maybe conversations about how we can be helping hand in that. But I like what you're doing, and I appreciate that this is in our community. So I encourage you to keep up the great work.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Yep.
Any other comments, questions?
Could I just make a comment
Absolutely.
on that, though? I think, though, the from experience, though, is we need to have industry and commerce at the table first. Because there's no point in building a program in a particular field if there's no possibility for employment or sustainable for here and now and in the future. Yep.
Councillor Warzanowski.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. And again, through yourself, to Mr. Hillgartner, you almost took the words out of my mouth about having commerce and industry here. My question is simple. In 1 or 2 sentences, what do you need to get started? Is it an industry partner? Is it somebody? I mean, obviously you need the students, but there's a chicken and egg before this goes.
Yeah, I need a training committee or association. And I would like to include Hillgartner Learning, Foundational Learning, SAIT. Would also like to include members from industry. And the members from industry and commerce are harder to connect with necessarily sometimes because many of them are not directly situated here in Chestermere. But we're working on that. One of the things on the later slide is I have a training pathways coffee meeting where people can book a meeting with me, we can interview, and we can talk about these plans and the effects on that as a way to building them. I think the reason it needs a committee or association is that this is bigger than just myself or the Foundational Learning Committee. This is about the city. And there's one way to say that, and then there's a way to do that, right? And we need those groups and those people at that table to spearhead some of the ideas and carry this forward. I hope I answered your question. Probably.
Yeah, would you see yourself, though, as creating that committee and that association? Like, who would create that committee or that association?
I would like to see the city, SAIT, and Foundational Learning as the spearheading of that, yep.
So, okay, that's 3 very large partners. So who spearheads it? Because when you say the city, right, like we're a big entity, right? So are you thinking that that's a committee that's formed as a committee of council, or like
Outside
of what?
Outside of necessarily a council or outside of SAIT. It's an independent organization that comes here and handles needs assessment. That comes here handling, connecting with industry partners and people.
Gotcha.
That's got a balance of community, industry, and programming at the table, right? So it's not seen as the snake oil salesman here with lots of products to sell you and run away from, right?
Yeah. No, and that makes a lot of sense. I think what we're just trying to nail down as a city is, again, the exact plan, right? Because we've demonstrated in numerous ways support for organizations, support for ideas, support for plans. But generally, the process for that is somebody comes with that. Because I don't know if this is a city spearheaded initiative. I don't know if any of my fellow councillors feel differently, but I don't know if this is something that's spearheaded by the city of Chestermere as opposed to spearheaded by somebody else and supported by the city of Chestermere in terms of zoning, in terms of if there's like an application for funding because there's a business plan, and within that business plan, because it's an not-for-profit, maybe there's a shortfall in funding, and so maybe the city's able to help fill that gap. But that's what I'm just trying to ascertain as to what the exact go forward would be.
One of the reasons we want to have an association is we want training and its impacts on economic development and community to be on that economic development plan, on that municipal development plan.
Yeah.
We want that to be mentioned on that social development plan. We want to be part of the visions of growing those things.
Right. And I don't mean to come across negative in any way, shape, or form.
Nope.
What's stopping you from starting that association tomorrow?
Agreement, people on that table that are interested in it,
Okay.
that have a stake in it.
Okay.
Not I would do it and it sounds nice. I
Yeah.
would be, yes, this matches our current vision and we're willing to commit this at this time with the possibility of going forward. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Schindler.
Yes, thank you. Through the chair, through administration to Mr. Hillgartner. I'm listening to all this and finding perhaps some crossover with some of our other committees. with economic development, or I'm not sure if we have room for an education committee, but there are thoughts. I think that if we had more ideas, more bit like the business plan and things to go forward with. Sorry, I'm kind of not sure where I'm going with this, but have you approached committees that we currently have for a presentation?
Yes.
To do a presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
I've met with economic development. I've met with community wellness. We ran
Right. And
a town hall at which you were present. We started an implementation plan a year ago.
right.
And this is what I'm talking about, a committee, is that somebody's bringing it forward, that it's present here, and that it takes its momentum of its own as something that's needed here.
Right. I'm also thinking like the library does. The
Library and the community adult program have shown no interest in this center or this program at this point.
Okay.
And they were invited to the town hall. They've been invited to meetings and discussions. And to almost quote verbatim, the head of the CALP program at the town hall said, "Good luck. Let us know how it goes when you're done." Even though we'd offered them a seat,
Okay.
we'd offered them the use of the testing center because they don't have a center right now, or programming. So
Have you approached, and Councillor Sandbo might be able to speak to this a little more, the Community Futures Wild Rose as a partner?
yes, and they said, "No, we're not able to do those types of things. We can provide you with support for bookkeeping and those things at this point."
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
Business.
Not to put them down, they do wonderful things, but that was just not an approach for them at that point. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I might be able to talk offline, but yeah, I had some more questions. Thank you.
Councillor Sambo.
Thank you, Your Worship, and my comments through you. Thank you for the presentation. I've heard a lot about this over the last year or so, and I think it's a wonderful idea. So, just summarizing what other comments have been here, it's a chicken and egg scenario, right? So it sounds like what you need to get going is this association, but it also sounds like you're looking for some firm commitments before the association begins. I think that the Community Futures Wild Rose model might work really well for you. So what they do is they have a nonprofit, and in their bylaws, they have seats on their board of directors available to different stakeholders. And whether or not that stakeholder chooses to send someone, they continue on with their operations. And so I wonder if something like that could work, where the association is established and you, with your expertise, maybe you can identify who those partners that you want to extend an invitation to are. So that could be City of Chestermere, that could be SAIT. And specifically at the City of Chestermere, are you looking for a councillor to invite to sit on this board, or are you looking for a member of administration? Maybe you invite someone from the Chamber of Commerce, and it's a seat for an organization rather than an individual. And that would make it really easy for partners to give you a yes or a no. So I don't know if that's helpful.
Oh, I would welcome that idea. And that was kind of sort of our initial approach, obviously not as well stated as you put it. So we definitely would revisit going to a place like the Wild Rose Futures, and they're excited about it. But yes, most of their programming at the time was aimed, as Councillor Rob over here mentioned, were aimed at youth. So the idea of an adult training center, I don't know, it went really good at the first one. I was invited to meet with the board of directors and people, and then it fizzled. It went to a different direction. And here we are. But it certainly would be welcome to revisit that or open that door, yeah. The part of coming to the table is you need to know the table and what you need to bring and those types of things. But I thank you for that advice.
Yeah. If I could, I would invite you to set the table and invite the people to come and sit down.
Okay.
And then I think it will move
Agreed.
forward a lot faster.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I agree. Absolutely. Okay. Any other questions from council with regards to the presentation? Okay, with that, I think at this time the action item for us on this is to accept for information. And then I would suggest that there's some councillors that have suggested some ideas, and feel free, as we said at the very beginning of our meeting, the ability to reach out to councillors for some feedback, as a couple have expressed some ideas.
Yes, I would also like to continue with David Sheedy and our work on the implementation plan and this feasibility report.
Sure. I can't speak to that as
No,
that is the work of administration, so that would be Mr. Edney's world. But he's in the room and can hear that and take that away. Great. With that, we'll have the motion to accept the presentation of information, please. Can I have from Councillor Sambo?
Certainly, Your Worship. I move that the Governance and Priorities Committee accept a public presentation from Foundational Learning Community for information.
Comments, questions from council? Call for the vote. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. Any other comments, questions, or motions from council with regards to the matter? Seeing none. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for
Appreciate
listening and giving us your time. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay. With that, I see she's in the room, but I'm going to say this slowly. If we're ready to go to 6.3.2, which is the recreation-related motions. Are we ready for that? Okay, awesome. So we're going to go to item 6.3.2, which is recreation-related motions update, presented by Kylie Hoskins, Manager of Corporate Properties and Recreation, as well as Mr. Edney, our CAO. Council, you will have received on your desk this morning a package of the motions. And so I know what happened was when the agenda went to be published, this part of the report wasn't quite ready to go online yet, which is why we're receiving it here this morning. So we may have to take a few minutes to go through, but I think that Ms. Hoskins is going to walk us through this a little bit in terms of the motions that were made, but I also see that Mr. Edney has already hit his button over there. So Mr. Edney.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Dean. I just wanted to build off your quick comment of why this isn't in the agenda package. Generally, something coming the next week, the motion at council is actually too late to meet our internal processes to get on the agenda. So thank you to Ms. Hoskins for putting in all this work to make sure something was available on a really quick turnaround for the committee to review. So that's the only reason it isn't in the agenda package, but it will be added there now that it's part of the meeting.
Yes, speaking to the machine comment earlier, we know that administration is not sitting waiting for the next motion from council for the next thing that they're working on. So I do want to say thank you for your flexibility with this. Looking through this really quickly, there are obviously a number of motions. Do we have a number right now? Do you know the number off the top of your head as to how many motions are? I heard yesterday in a quick comment from Lodge Services, I think it's in excess of 50.
92.
92. 92 motions. Since July of 2024, this council has made 92 motions with regards to recreation. It might be a priority for this council. So, Ms. Hoskins, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, good morning, Mayor and Council. My name is Kylie Hoskins, Manager Corporate Properties and Recreation. I'm here to present the report for information for updates for recreation-related motions. Since July 2024, Council has passed a number of motions related to recreation. These motions form part of Council's ongoing work to support recreation services and infrastructure within the community. At the January 27th to 2026 meeting, Council directed administration to prepare a report summarizing all recreation-related council motions made since July 2024, organized chronologically and reflecting the current status of each. The purpose of this report is to provide Council with a consolidated overview of recreation-related motions and their current status. This includes identifying actions that have been completed, work that is underway, and items that require further sequencing, resourcing, or future council direction. This report is intended to support transparency, continuity, and a shared understanding between council and administration regarding recreation-related decisions and their implementation. It also supports consistent tracking and accountability for recreation-related files moving forward. So 2 files have been prepared, one ordered chronologically with all the recreation-related motions and the other by project type. For simplicity of this presentation, I'll be referencing the project-based report. Housekeeping motions, such as motions to move in and out of closed session, have not been included in this report. If we can please bring up the report, it's there. So starting with the Chestermere Regional Recreation Center. So all motions are complete with 1 motion outstanding. This motion is in progress and administration continues to work with the CRCA. So if we move on to Lakeside Greens Golf Course, all motions have been completed. Next, we have Dawson's Landing Recreation Center. We have 5 motions that are still in progress but are on schedule. And lastly, we have general recreation. We remain on track and on schedule with anticipated reports scheduled to be brought back at the end of Q1. So since July 2024, there have been close to 100 recreation-related motions carried out. This demonstrates that council and administration have been very busy working towards expanding recreation in Chestermere. And I'm open to any questions or comments you may have.
Great, thank you. Mr. Edney.
Oh, thank you, Mayor Dean. Sorry, I was just going to ask council, do you want us to walk through motion by motion, or do you want to kind of look through and then ask questions? What works best for council on this particular one?
Well, I'm
A lot of
wondering.
detail in the report. So.
Yeah, thank you. I'm wondering, I wanted to jump in. First of all, I appreciate the way that this has been broken down in the different areas. I think that that is super helpful. And so I'm wondering if maybe we could tackle, if there's any questions maybe that we have about, why don't we start with each particular area and walk through that way. So specifically for the Chestermere Regional Recreation Center, I think it'd be good for us just to talk the purpose of this motion. So the one that is still underway is the Governance and Priorities Committee direct the Mayor's Task Force for Recreation Subcommittee to collaborate with the Chestermere Regional Community Association, CRCA, to improve utilization, data capture, and reporting. So part of the purpose for this is one of the things that we want to do is really look at usership of the facility. Who's using it? And how many of those are Chestermere residents? We know that that's very high. But we also know that it is a regional recreation center. And whether that be daily users that are coming in or users that are, so we have we have men's teams that come in to play hockey that are coming in from Calgary, mostly Calgary, coming in for that. We do have Chestermere teams that play out of there, but we also have Indus teams that come in and play. We also know that there's lots of visitors that we have that we host as part of Cal when they're coming to play against our CMHA teams here. So one of the reasons for that data capturing is to be able to do that. So I guess I would look to our two councillors who are here today that are on what is now a standing committee and not just a mayor's task force anymore. If there's any update from the committee right now as to where this conversation is sitting, or and if it is, this is a great reminder for us to do this. That's part of the reason why I wanted this motion is I am wondering too if there's going to be some reminders in here of some work that maybe we need to pick back up and look at possibly an action plan adding to the action plan that we've created. And I'm wondering if there's an action plan that may come out of this. So just to set up this conversation a little bit. So Councillor Grant on that question.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. I can provide some insight or backstory on that item as it relates to the improvement of utilization of the data capture and reporting. So that's a mouthful. It's hard. We've had conversations at the task force level with CRCA, not representatives, but people who were on the task force at the time that were at CRCA about, and full disclosure, previous life, I've had this conversation many times with CRCA about how do they capture their data and do they have data? And the short answer is they have some data, and so they're not wholesomely capturing their data. To do that, they would need to modify a lot of their procedures, agreements, systems, a whole array of things to make sure that everybody that's coming in and out of that building is that we know who they are necessarily in some manner, or at least where they're coming from. But it runs into a lot of complications with FOIP and sharing data and not sharing personal data and maybe just postal codes. There's a lot of hair there that I've talked about with people. So it's hard to do anything there because really, I don't think this should sit with the task force. It should probably sit with administration, in my opinion. That I don't think a task force has any authority, power, say to even have a conversation with CRCA about their procedures or what they're doing, especially when it has a financial implication to them. So I talk about it all the time. I think I talked about it in our last rec meeting that CRCA does need to capture this data better so that we can understand the makeup of the user of that facility. But it's in its infancy at best, and it needs support. And I don't know if there is a good method. I've looked around. I don't know if a community is actually doing this wholesomely, but I would like to hear more about it. And but again, I think my solution is that this should go to administration to do work, especially now that we are the administration, or the city of Chestermere is now the land owner. I think it's probably incumbent to have that conversation between those two entities as opposed to a task force.
So I see that Mr. Edney's already pushed button. Maybe Mr. Edney and I are already on the same page on this, so I'm just going to jump in and then set it up, and then I'm either going to hand it over to you for a home run, or it's going to be a foul ball. We'll see how this goes here. But what I am wondering is, I'm thinking about the meeting that we had, and not to go into specifics, but Councillor Grant, myself, CAO Edney, met with members of the CRCA board last week. One of the things that we are talking about is mentorship and services that we already provide, and are there additional mentorship or help that we could come alongside and provide. And so one of the things that we're even talking about is communications. Right, we have an incredible communications team here at the City of Chestermere who might be able to just provide some assistance where maybe that second set of eyes coming on something. So I wonder if there's opportunity for us to provide some mentorship with regards to this and help with this. I'm even thinking around the idea of FOIP, right? So I'm just thinking of perhaps we could provide some clear guidance on what they can and cannot do with regards to FOIP, just because of our very quick access that we have even within our own team with our own legal aid that we have on staff who has a very clear grasp of formerly FOIP, now ATIA. So I wonder if there's just some opportunities for us there, and I'm not sure if that's where your brain already was, Mr. Edney, but I will turn it over to you for comment, Mr. Edney.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Dean. Actually, no, I was kind of along the same lines, but I was going to add something else. So you and I are heading up to Edmonton tomorrow for part of the Mid-Sized Cities Mayor Caucus. And one of my intentions there when I meet my counterparts, the other CAOs in the mid-sized cities, was to talk about this with them. I know Grand Prairie for sure, and the county of Grand Prairie have been working on this from a cost-sharing mechanism, right? To figure out who's using their new recreation center or not. And I know they've tried some different innovative approaches to trying to solve some of this problem. We're not unique. This is something that's happening in a lot of cities and counties when it comes to cost sharing. So I'm hoping to get some information out of Mr. Bork from Grand Prairie tomorrow on this and report back again to this group on how did they tackle this and what are some different ways we might be able to look at doing it. So same idea. I think we can provide some assistance. And again, other people are doing this, so I'm going to figure out how they're doing it and whether it's working or not.
Well, I'm wondering too, on that note of as we know now with the dissolution of the CMRB that we have to create the IDPs and the ICFs, and part of that recreation is a bucket that has to be included in that. So this data collection is even more important as we're working with, especially on the Rocky View County, a little bit with Calgary as well, but far more obviously with Rocky View. This data collection is a very important part of that. So Mr. Edney, I guess I would ask if we should, because this is in progress and because this was directed to the task force, which is now the committee, I'm wondering if this is either a motion that should now be rescinded or if we should make a new motion related to this and basically make the exact same motion but take out the word mayor's task force and add administration for now and just change the focus. I'm just wondering if that would work for administration, Mr. Edney.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Dean. Through you to council. Yeah, I agree with Councillor Grant at this point that I think it's a difficult task for the task force to take ownership over. So I like that idea of you can either call that motion complete because the task force has done what they can, but make a similar motion asking administration. Mike and I, Mike being the general manager of the CRCA, did talk offline at our next operations meeting. This is something we'll discuss. So leave it with us and we'll see what we can figure out. as some of the discussion has talked about, it's not a simple thing to do as simply counting memberships and stuff. I know in Grand Prairie, they actually tried a system where it actually monitored cell phones coming in, and it could know whether the cell phone was registered in the city of Calgary, the county, well, in their case, city or county. But I don't think it was perfect, and I think it had some challenges. So that might be something that we can look at as well.
Great, thank you. So to Ledge Services, I'm just going to ask, can you just take that motion? Don't worry about bringing it up on the screen right now. Can you just edit that motion to what we just said? We'll take out Mayor's Task Force, put in administration, and we'll have that motion made here in a minute ago. And then while you're working on that, I have two councillors that have comments as well. So starting with Councillor Sambo.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have a comment on that, but I'll wait until the motion comes forward. I was going to add another thing that's not captured in the motions for the CRRC land, and this is something that folks ask a lot about, which is about the upgrades and building out of that land over time and the investment the city would like to make into that space. So a comment on that, I do think that planning will be done through the Recreation Master Plan, so I think that it's covered. But at some point we might want to look at making a motion to that effect, just so that it's crystal clear to the community that there's an intention to plan around that and support the CRCA with the upgrades that they've identified that they need even in the building to keep operating as is.
Yeah, I guess it would be fair to make public that Mr. Edney, you can maybe help me on the date. I know it's March something, that the CRCA is coming with a specific, with some requests with regards to funding for this year. And I believe that that's coming early March for their presentation. That's going to be coming. And so, Councillor Sambo, to your comment, it might give us an opportunity then to ask the operations manager at the CRCA specifically about that plan, because it's going to have a lot to do with maintenance and things like that. Mr. Edney.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Dean. Yeah, you're correct. I'm not sure we've scheduled whether it's March 10th or the 24th yet, but it'll be one of those 2 days they'll come with their request. And to Councillor Sambo's comments, yeah, the Recreation Master Plan will holistically look at the entire city and the recreation opportunities, not obviously just owned land, which of course the CRRC is our own land, but it will be part of that. So yeah, as Mayor Dean mentions at the time, there may be some specific motions you want to make, but I do think it's covered under that Recreation Master Plan.
Okay. Going to go to Ledge Services. Do you have that motion ready? Okay, thank you. So can I have a councillor make the following motion, please? Councillor Schindler.
Just a quick question. Do we have to, or should we rescind the other motion as well?
No,
we're going to keep that
no,
one?
administration suggested that we're going to mark it complete.
Complete? Okay. I move that the Governance and Priorities Committee direct administration to collaborate with the Chestermere Regional Community Association to improve utilization, data capture, and reporting.
Great, thank you. Comments, questions from council? Councillor Sambo.
Thank you, Your Worship. I support all the comments around this and moving it to administration. All of that I'm on board with. My hesitancy comes with removing it completely from council's purview because there is that intergovernmental, intermunicipal contributions component. So I suppose following up the question I have is this, it's hard to put a timeline on something like this. Will this come back to council? How do we make sure that it is moving forward? Because these numbers do impact the conversations we have at an intergov level.
That's an absolutely valid point. So then, what if we asked for an update? It's February right now. Mr. Edney?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Dean. Sorry, I kind of only heard part of Councillor Sambo's comments there, but I got the gist, and I think one of the things I'd like to stress too is inherently in anything we do, we're not going to work in silos, administration or council. Like you mentioned, we need this data when we talk about, once we get to the ICFs and cost sharing and stuff. So I'm not sure how you frame a motion around that, other than it's just inherently implied, I think, in the work that we're going to be doing coming forward, that this would feed into that. So We could make motion 101, I guess, if you want, on the rec side. But it will be addressed through those processes.
So what if we just ask for a motion to come back to council, and reporting, and bring a report, can we just try this, and bring a report back to council at the July 21st GAP meeting? So it gives you 5 months to try something. If your report is, we don't have anything yet, well, okay, well, that's your report. I'm sure we'll all feel a certain kind of way about that. But certainly, as I think that timeline works really well with what I have at the top of my head with scheduled meetings that we have right now for our ICFs and IDPs. Councillor Sambo?
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you for the chance to follow up. I like that, and I'll just say, in my mind, the ideal scenario would be by that point that the CRCA could come to council with a financial ask for what it would cost to implement what they need to do, so that we could evaluate what it would take to support them in getting this data, because it helps us achieve our goals regionally as well. Thank you.
Well, they're coming in March too, right? So perhaps that could be added as part of that conversation. No, fair. Okay. Councillor Grant?
Thank you, Mayor Dean. Some feedback on the conversation. I support the motion. I think that's great. We need to capture this data. To Councillor Sambo's comments about the data and the metrics that we're going to get from it, and how that plays into the intermunicipal relations. I think some of that conversation can be guided through the partnership framework. I think it's actually important to put it in there so that it is written down and kind of not lost in what is the goals of both sides of the partnership. So I think, yes, we need to get the data first, but then we need to agree upon what are the metrics that should be included in the framework that come with certain levels of support. So I think the motion's great. I support it. I just wanted to add some more color to the conversation.
Great, thank you. Councillor Schindler, can I get you to restate the motion, please?
Sure. I move that the Governance and Priorities Committee direct administration to collaborate with the Chestermere Regional Community Association to improve utilization data capture and reporting, and bring back a report to council at the July 21st, 2026 Governance and Priorities meeting.
Thank you. Other comments, questions from council? Call for the vote. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. And then, yeah, just again, just to reiterate that we will then be marking that other motion then complete. So the second category that we had was, thank you, Lakeside Greens Golf Course. The only comment I would have on this is I know that there's some, we have continued to receive questions with regards to other utilizations of the golf course in non-golf times. And Mr. Edney, I'm just wondering if you could just clarify for our public just where that's sitting right now, some plans, ideas that are sitting in place, and the idea that really we're going to be looking at fall, winter 2026 for the implementation of some of those things. Mr. Edney.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Dean. I think you probably succinctly captured what I'm going to talk about, but yeah, it's something we are working with the golf course. Our parks team and our rec team have been in contact with the golf course. I know there was some plans in the works to set up cross-country skiing kind of around the driving range area. You know, unfortunately, we're looking at 16 degrees for the next few days out here. I don't think there'll be any cross-country skiing this winter, but we have had discussions around potentially skating on the ponds at 9 and 18. Those aren't stormwater ponds, so there isn't the same safety issue we see in many of the other ponds on the golf course. I guess while I'm speaking public, again, public be aware, most of the ponds on the golf course are stormwater ponds. So when we see weather like this, there is movement of water underneath that ice. Be careful if you're going to step out onto those. Obviously, we don't advise that, but we know people do anyways. I'll get off my soapbox here for a second and go back to your question. On top of that, we are looking at other ways to even use the internal space in the golf course through the next winter season. Typically up to this point, the kitchen's closed down other than odd Christmas banquet, but there is a golf simulator. If people aren't aware, it's up and running. It's in the basement of the golf course. It's in the back back shop area. You can call the golf course and book there, but we are looking at options of doing something upstairs, maybe expanding on that. Again, I don't have great details right now, but the short answer to my long answer is we won't be doing anything right now. We're just preparing, I guess, for golf season to get underway, hopefully sometime in April here. But we'll work diligently over the summer and fall to have some plans for recreation at the golf course next year, other than golfing.
Thank you. Any comments, questions from council with regards to Lakeside Greens? Councillor Grant.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. We've done a lot here on the golf course and done some great things, I think. And we're almost to the finish line, I think. So I would like to have, maybe not today, but I would like to have feedback or an update from administration on where we are with the final plans for the golf course, as far as how we're going to end up handing that off or operating it or partnering, or what the future of the golf course holds, as it's kind of, I don't know if it's fallen off, but maybe it's, yeah, what's the progress of it? So
Thank you. Mr. Edney?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Dean, to council. So the future of the golf course, I guess, hasn't fallen off. I think there's been a lot of work on the transition from December 31st, where we had the previous ownership group operating the golf course, to our current contractor operating the golf course for 2026. Again, being Mr. Glenn Carr. He was executive professional there. He's, I guess, himself and his company has undertaken the task of all operations for the golf course through the 2026 season for us, as far as making sure we've got staff and green fees and all that kind of stuff. We do have some scheduled improvements that have been able to be completed under the existing operating budget. I'll come back with a little bit more information on that when we've worked through the finality of those decisions. As well, council's allocated some money for some of the safety improvement type stuff, which again, I'll come back with some more information as we work through those. The larger question of how does the city own and structure ownership of the golf course, again, to maximize grants, community input, city funding, all that kind of stuff, is something I expect to start talking with council again as part of this MCC type discussion that we're going to have hopefully shortly here, as a bit of a workshop on how we structure that ownership. There's not going to be any significant changes as far as operating through 2026, other than maybe the approach to operating, and really trying to put the experience of the golfer and the golf course first, if that's a polite way of saying that.
So to that point, Mr. Edney, I'm wondering, and to your question, Councillor Grant, I'm wondering if we had a motion to direct administration to bring back an update on the status of the transition of the golf course to the April 21st, 2026 GAP meeting. So almost, I'm wondering, it'd almost be like a kickoff, getting ready to go into golf, probably starting May-ish. I mean, depending on how this weather keeps going, we might start golfing next week. But just wondering about that transition and bringing perhaps and it could just simply be like, here's how golf looks going into this season. We may not have all the answers, but just a bit of a status update. So I'm wondering, Councillor Grant, if that would, I see you nodding. Mr. Edney's nodding. So Josh, just quickly on that. The motion is motion to direct administration. Thank you. Motion to direct administration to bring back an update on the status of the transition of the golf course to the April 21st, 2026 GAP meeting. Councillor Grant, can I turn that one over to you?
I'd be happy to, Mayor. Thank you. I'm the Governance and Priority Committee I move that the Governance and Priorities Committee direct administration to bring an update on the status of transition of the golf course to the April 21st, 2026 Governance and Priorities Committee meeting.
Comments, questions from council? Call for the vote. I promise I'm not trying to get to 100 motions by the end of this meeting, but we might. We might. What are we at, 94 now? We're at 92. We just made 2. Right, 94. We got 6 more to go here. Okay, Councillor Sambo.
Thank you, Your Worship. And a question through you to Mr. Edney. Clarity on that workshop that you were mentioning there. How does the conversation around that larger, possibly MCC, and the structure of recreation as a whole in Chestermere factor into the recreation master plan? Would that be a decision through a workshop that council makes through motion that then informs the recreation master plan, or is it the other way around?
Mr. Reddy?
Thank you, Mayor Dean. To Councillor Sandbo, that's a really good question. My thought process would be it's the other way around. I think what would be important, we understand the current amenities we have. Well, or maybe not even the other way around. I'd almost go in conjunction. We understand the current amenities we have. I don't think how we structure ownership necessarily drives what council or what the recreation master plan would say we need to do for recreation. But what's in there might drive a little bit of how you structure the different layers of that corporation, if that makes sense, right? So, you know, high level right now, if you had an MCC, you could have 3 separate branches, one owning the current rec center, one the golf course, one then could be future, and depending on what those have, you could then fill out those branches of the different divisions in that MCC, I guess. So that's a long-winded answer to say I'm not totally sure, but I think the two need to be working hand in hand, cognizant of what the other one is working on.
Councillor Sambo?
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Mr. Edney. I agree that they go hand in hand. It is still a bit of that chicken and egg scenario. Right now, the Recreation Committee is working to bring back a recommendation to Council on governance models of a new recreation centre. And for example, if Council prior to that made some decision about an MCC that leaned more one way or another, then that would influence the recommendation that came forward from the committee. So I think we just need to keep talking about all these different components and make sure everyone understands the fluidity of it so that we don't get held up on not knowing who pulls the trigger first.
Thank you. With that, I want to apologize to Ms. Hoskins. We're going to need to table this conversation because we have a guest coming for our update as part of our in-camera conversation here that we do need to meet. And so just so everybody's aware for the public, our anticipation is that what will happen is that this in-camera is probably going to take 30 to 40 minutes. And so with that, right after that, council is going to head over to the rec center to watch the start of the game. Then we have another guest coming at 1 o'clock. So I'm sorry, we're going to need to bump you till later on this afternoon. I apologize. So with that, I just want the public to be aware of kind of the structure that we're going to go here. So can I have the motion to table this, and we'll lift from the table here later on this afternoon. Councillor Schindler.
I move that the Governance and Priorities Committee table agenda item 6.3.2, recreation-related motions update.
Call for the vote. That's carried unanimously. Thank you. And can I have the motion to move in camera, please? Can I have a councillor make the following motion, please? Councillor Rondell.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that the Governments and Priority Committee move into closed session at 11:01 a.m. to discuss the following: legal update, access to Information Act 80IA, Section 29, advice from officials.
Thank you. Call for the vote. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning again, everyone. Just coming out of our closed session, can I have a counselor make the motion to come out of our closed session, please? Counselor Schindler.
I move that the Governance and Priorities Committee come out of closed session at 11:53 a.m.
Call for the vote. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. We're now going to take our lunch break, and council will resume at 1 p.m. Thanks, everybody. Oh, no, we'll just do it after. Thank you.